Mental overlaws, slicing night, neon veins throbbing bright, a stegosaurus in flight, Cyberdon ready to fight. Planet Zoids, star of chaos, blue guardians, tremble and loss, land mutants, scatter like loss, renegades, wild wind toss, Cyberdon's roar, rips the sky, laser beams scream, don't ask why, enemies fall, one by one, robot war machine, angel, clockwork, hearts beat, battle drums, circuit, blood through copper runs, other renegades they shun, Cyberdon's war just begun, electric suns burn and flash, under his feet they crash, enemies' hopes turn to ash, Cyberdon's fierce fiery lash, gears grind and engines roar, Zoidstar's war forevermore, angle grinders and metal claws, victory through Cyberdon's jaws. Cyberdon's war rips the sky, laser beams scream, don't sleep. So that's why laser beams scream, don't enemies fall. One by one, one by robot claw machine ain't done. Robot claw machine ain't done. Clockwork, heartbeat, battle drums, someone blood through copper rungs, other renegades they shun, Cyberdon's war just begun. Death of horrors like a night, real veins forming bright, a stegosaurus in flight, started murder ready to fight. And the Zoidstar in chaos, the guardians tremble and lost, mutants scatter like moss, renegades wildly toss. Cyberdon's war rips the sky, laser beams scream, don't ask why. Enemies fall, one by one. Robot war machine ain't done. Clockwork hearts beat, battle drums, serpent blood through copper runs, other renegades they shun, Cyberdon's war just begun. Electric suns burn and flash, under his feet they crash, enemies' hopes turn to ash, Cyberdon's fierce fiery lash, gears grind and engines roar, Zoidstar's war forevermore, angle grinders and metal claws, victory through Cyberdon's jaws. Copper comes roar, rips the sky, laser beams scream, don't ask why, don't ask why, don't ask why, enemies fall and toss. Mental overlaws, slicing night, neon veins throbbing bright, a stegosaurus in flight, Cyberdon ready to fight. Planet Zoids, star of chaos, blue guardians, tremble and loss, land mutants, scatter like loss, renegades, wild wind toss, Cyberdon's roar rips the sky, laser beams scream, don't ask why, enemies fall, one by one, robot legends roar. Zoidstar's war forevermore. Angle grinders and metal claws. Victory through Cyberdon jaws.